of the game.
Today we're covering Cthulhu Wars. Cthulhu Wars is a 2 to 4 player game that plays in about 90 minutes, created by Sandy Peterson and published by Green Eye Games in 2014.
You represent a faction of evil seeking to rip the earth apart. Unfortunately, you're not alone, and other factions are trying to do it before you. This is a problem. You can't let your fanatical cultists down. Not to mention you're tired of Cthulhu getting all the hype. It's time to show him who's boss. Knock him down a peg or two.
The object of the game is to win.
You win by collecting the most doom points among the players who've collected all of their spellbooks. If you fail to collect all your faction's spellbooks, you fail to anchor yourself into this reality, and your monsters will all get sucked back through the gates. This means that humanity has one extremely slight possibility to survive. If all of the unspeakable horrors get sucked back through the gates, of course, this means that everyone just lost.
Most doom points are publicly visible on the doom track, but some are hidden behind elder signs. These tokens range in value between 1 and 3 doom points, and are kept secret from the other players when you earn them. You may choose to reveal them at any time, including when the end of the game is triggered. When you do, simply advance yourself by that amount on the doom track.
Spellbooks do far more than just put you in the running for victory. They contain powerful upgrades unique to your faction. Some improve your units, while others provide enhanced or exclusive actions. The requirements for gaining a spellbook vary wildly from faction to faction. You do well to use these as milestones on your way to victory.
The action phase makes up the bulk of the game. On your turn, you must take one standard action. You may also perform as many unlimited actions, which we'll get into later on, as you would like. Most actions cost power to perform. Once your power is drained, you are removed from turn rotation. You cannot perform any action, even if it would normally be free. Here you see the cost of the standard actions available to all factions. Look at your own faction sheet and spellbooks for additional unique ones.
Initial setup is governed by the number of players in the game. First, you must determine your map. Each half of the board is double-sided, with a 3-player side and a 5-player side, indicated in the corner. If you're playing a 3 or 5-player game, you simply need to match up the 2 halves. If you're playing a 4-player game, take 1 3 and 1 5. You can choose either combination. Next, you need the correct number of rituals on your ritual track. More players gets you more rituals during the game. Take the appropriate track and set your ritual marker to the lowest level, the 5-point value. Now all the players will get to pick their faction. You can do this any way you see fit, as long as it's amicable to everyone. Once chosen, you get your faction card, you get all your miniatures, you get the 6 spellbook tiles for the faction, and in rare cases, you also get any other tokens and trinkets involved in that faction. Set your point marker to the 0-point value on the doom track, and then take all 6 of your cultists, as well as 1 gate, and place it in the appropriate faction starting area. This is determined by the various faction glyphs throughout the board. Note that even expansion factions already have glyphs available. The yellow sign begins in Europe. Crawling Chaos begins in South Asia. Black Goat begins in West Africa. And Great Cthulhu starts the game in the South Pacific. Note that one of the cultists begins the game already controlling the gate there. Next, take the various other tokens and tidbits and place them within reach of each other, of everybody. We have the gates, we have the combat dice, and we have the Elder Sign tokens. These should be face down and shuffled up so that no one knows where the high points are. Finally, we need to determine first player for the first turn. This token, if Cthulhu's in the game, simply goes to him, because it's Cthulhu. Otherwise, choose randomly amongst the rest of the players.
In the Gather Power phase, power is collected based on cultists and gates. You get 1 power for each cultist, 2 power for a controlled gate, 1 power for an abandoned gate, and 1 power for a cultist you captured during the previous action phase. This is also when that cultist would get returned to their owner's pool. So let's total it up for the Black Goat. They have 6 cultists for 6 power, 2 controlled gates for 4 more power, totaling 10, 1 abandoned gate, which gets them 1 more, for 11, and a captured cultist that would give them a total of 12. So they'd move their power marker up to the 12 spot. Additionally, some factions have unique ways of collecting power. Exploit them. Power is your lifeblood. Once it's gone, you're out of the round and unable to react to other players' actions. You'll want to look at your spellbooks and your faction's unique ability to see how you might collect additional power. Each player is also guaranteed some degree of power. The minimum power is determined by dividing the power of the player with the most in half, rounding up. If any player is below this number, set their power to the minimum. In this case, Black Goats got up to 12, so they've guaranteed everyone will have at least 6.
The next phase determines who's going to be first player for the next round. The equation is simple. Whoever has the most power gets the token. However, if there's a tie, then the tiebreaker is whoever held the token last. If they're in the running for most power this time around, they can even keep it for themselves. In this case, however, Black Goat is our clear winner, with 12 points versus a couple 11s and a 10. So, she gets it. She then has the choice of what direction play should go in, either clockwise or counter. Choose the facing, place this next to your faction card, and start in on the Doom. The Doom phase is where all players will have the opportunity to score Doom points. First, every player will gain points equal to the number of gates they control. 3 factions on our current board control 2 gates, whereas Yellow Sign is stuck with only 1. So they would be behind initially. Once those points are scored, each player, in turn order, will have the opportunity to perform a ritual of annihilation. The ritual cost starts at 5 and will increase to 10 over the course of the game. When you do a ritual, you will gain an additional point for every gate you control, as well as an Elder Sign for every great old one you have out and about. Since the Black Goat is current first player, she has the current right of refusal, and she chooses not to ritual. Cthulhu's next, and he doesn't see 2 points as worth 5 power. There are too many actions to do coming up. However, Crawling Chaos at 3rd place, he likes his odds. He's got his great old one out, so he is going to pay the 5 power to move the ritual track up 1, gain 2 more Doom points, and an Elder Sign. Elder Signs are kept secret, and they can be valued anywhere from 1 to 3. There are far more 1s than there are 3s, but you can generally feel safe assuming an average of 2 points per token your opponents have hidden. Just take the one you've grabbed face down, and they'll just have to guess until you decide to reveal it.
Recruit a cultist. Cultists are your basic hooded crazy, working for powers they can't possibly comprehend. They're worthless in a fight, but they do all the basic grunt work. For the cost of 1 power, you may place one of your cultists from your pool into any region where you already have a unit. If you are somehow eliminated from the board, then you may recruit your cultist anywhere. Important to note, is that all units are limited by your pool. If you already have all your cultists out on the board, you won't be able to recruit another.
Build a gate. Cultists can open portals to summon greater nasties and generate more power. If you have a cultist in a region that doesn't already have a gate, you may build a new one there for 3 power. This brings us to our first unlimited action. You can move your cultists on and off a gate for free. We'll go ahead and put the cultist on there so that we can claim the gate.
Summon a monster. Monsters are the next step up on the malevolent food chain, and each faction has a variety of creatures under its control. They range in power cost and ability depending on their species, as well as requiring a doorway into the world. Once you pay for them, they have to be placed somewhere you have a controlled gate. So, Crawling Chaos could pay 1 to summon a Night Gaunt, 2 to summon a Flying Polyp, or 3 to summon a Hunting Horror at this gate.
Awaken a Great Old One. Timeless and terrible, the Great Old Ones arise. The requirements for bringing each into the game is unique. Additionally, their powers are unique. Please refer to the faction sheets for details. They may seem expensive when compared to the other creatures, but they are critical to your success. In this case, Great Cthulhu will arise for 10 power from the South Pacific. Begin to reign terror.
Move. You may move any or all of your units as a single action. It costs 1 point of power for each unit you want to move, and no single unit can move more than 1 territory. So, if I were, in Yellow's case, to pay 5 power, I could move 4 monsters into a threatening position here. However, my final undead could only move 1 step closer.
Capture a cultist. Your enemy's cultists are tasty morsels. If left undefended, you can take them for yourself. If you have a monster or great old one in the same region as an enemy cultist, as in here, you can spend 1 power and capture it. Put the cultist onto your faction card. In your next gather power phase, he will refund you the power you spent. Even better, your opponent can't even recruit him again until the next action phase. However, cultists can be guarded. If Crawling Chaos had this monster in here, that cultist couldn't be taken, because there are 2 monsters. Black Goat really wants that cultist, so we'll move in Shub-Niggurath in there. Capture that cultist again. Until Crawling Chaos decides, you know what? Gnarly's going to move in and protect that cultist. Probably leading to a pretty bloody battle here.
Declare a battle. With all these eldritch horrors wandering about the world, there's obviously going to be a bit of conflict. In this case, Cthulhu would really like to have the Black Goat's Gate right here in the ocean. So, if you have a unit with at least 1 combat in the same region as an enemy faction, you can pay 1 power to declare a battle. You can only declare battle against 1 enemy faction at a time, so little Mr. Night Gaunt here gets lucky and just sits this one out. There are 3 parts to battle. Not surprisingly, they are pre-battle, battle, and post-battle. In pre-battle, you can apply any sort of special abilities that you've collected or your faction inherently has. For example, Cthulhu has the special ability of Devour. Pre-battle, he gets to just eat 1 cultist or monster. The enemy faction chooses which. Next comes the battle itself, and this is where the combat value of your monsters and great old ones comes into play. Each combat is worth 1 die. So, normally, the Black Goat would have a fairly respectable set of dice here. 1 for the fungi, 2 for his Dark Young, for a total of 3. That's not a bad roll, unless you're fighting a Cthulhuan army like this, where his Deep One has 1 die,
His star spawn has 3, and Cthulhu himself has a massive 6. Note that the cultists don't have any unless some other special ability comes into play. Both sides roll dice simultaneously. What you're looking for are 4s, 5s, and 6s. 6s are your most coveted result. These are kills. Now, the post-battle is where you actually assign these dice. For every kill you get, then your enemy has to choose one of their units to eliminate. In this case, both sides have rolled exactly 1 kill, and so Cthulhu will choose to lose his deep one, and Black Goat will take off his cultist. Next up are the pains. Pains are 4s and 5s. These force enemy units to retreat, and order is important. You cannot retreat into an area where the opponent you just fought is present. So the attacker has an advantage in that they get to retreat first. Cthulhu will send his star spawn down into South America, which means that now the Black Goat's exits are anywhere else. Can't go to the South Atlantic or South America, but any of these other bordering regions he can move his 2 units to. And they don't have to move together. He could split them up if he wanted. But in this case, Scandinavia looks tasty with a lone cultist. Finally, during the post-battle, you can also activate other special abilities, like the Black Goat's necrophagy spellbook. This book allows him to move any or all of his ghouls on the board into the region where combat just happened. If he does so, then he gets to apply 1 extra pain result for every ghoul that just moved in, which means that 2 more pains means that Cthulhu has to retreat out of his own prize. He no longer has access to the gate because both the cultist and he are now choosing to go to South America. Sometimes you can get yourself stuck. Here, in Antarctica, Cthulhu has just declared battle against the Black Goat again. Now, Black Goat has rolled 1 pain, and so the deep one runs away. But Cthulhu's rolled 2, and Black Goat has nowhere to retreat to. The Indian Ocean, South Atlantic, South Pacific all have Cthulhu units. So, Black Goat must choose one of their own units to sacrifice in order to cancel all of the pains. As you see, battle can be somewhat complex with all the abilities and dice being thrown around. However, it can be very beneficial when used tactically. In addition to the obvious benefit of being able to win the game at some point, having 6 spellbooks also improves your battle. It makes it an unlimited action. This means you can use it as many times as you want on your turn. The only restriction is that you have to fight in different regions every time. It'll still cost you 1 power per fight, but that's going to be very useful as a follow-up to lots of other things. So, in this case, Crawling Chaos has a bit of power left over at the end of the round, and wants to cause some chaos. First, he's going to spend 3 of it to move some units. Then, he's going to spend 1 to initiate a battle here in West Africa, hopefully to mess with Black Goat's cultists, but you never know. Ooh, a kill. Then, he's going to spend 1 more, making a total of 5, here in the ocean. And just to make things even worse for the King in Yellow, he's going to activate his Seek and Destroy spellbook to bring a friend along. Only 1 kill, but a lot of pains. So we're down a zombie, and everybody else is running scared.
The requirements for spellbooks are listed on the right side of each faction sheet. Once you've satisfied one of the requirements, For instance, if Black Goat decided to use their action for a round to eliminate 2 of their cultists, you look through your available spellbooks. Each spellbook has a name, time when it can be used, cost if applicable, and a description. Read through the text of each of the spellbooks to understand them. Once you've selected a spellbook, place it on top of the requirement that you satisfied. That spellbook is now available for you for the rest of the game. Use their effects wisely. Thanks for watching. If you have questions or comments, please email us at info@objectofthegame. For more videos, visit our website at Object of the Game. Note that's objectofthega.me. Thanks.